path to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and roadblocks that challenge us to grow, to adapt, and to push through barriers. Yet for so many people, the biggest obstacle they face isn't external. It's not the competition, the economy, or the circumstances they were born into. It's something much closer to home. It's something that lives within us, unseen but powerful, shaping our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our results. If you've ever felt stuck, frustrated, or like you're spinning your wheels despite your best efforts, chances are this one thing is at the root of it. It's not lack of talent or opportunity that holds most people back. It's a pattern, a mindset, a way of thinking and behaving that creates an invisible ceiling over their potential. The truth is, success isn't just about what you do. It's about what you believe, what you allow, and what you're willing to challenge within yourself. Sometimes, the hardest person to overcome is the one staring back at you in the mirror. But once you understand what's truly holding you back, you gain the power to break free. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of intentional choices, consistent effort, and a willingness to confront the things that are getting in your way. We're going to shine a light on the one thing that's been keeping you from the success you're capable of. And by the end, you'll have the clarity and the tools to start moving forward, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. If you're wondering what's holding you back from success, here's the answer. It's your comfort zone. That invisible space where things feel safe, familiar, and predictable. It's where you don't have to take risks, where you don't have to face the possibility of failure, and where everything seems manageable. But here's the problem. Nothing extraordinary ever happens inside the comfort zone. Growth, progress, and success all lie beyond it. The comfort zone is like a cozy trap. It gives you a false sense of security while quietly keeping you stuck. Think about it. How often do you avoid doing something new or challenging because it feels uncomfortable? Those moments of hesitation are your comfort zone, trying to keep you where you are. But why is it so hard to break out of this space? The answer lies in how we're wired. As human beings, we're programmed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, to steer us away from anything that feels threatening or uncertain. And stepping outside your comfort zone, that triggers all kinds of alarms in your mind. It's not just mental, it's physical too. You've probably felt it. The racing heart, the sweaty palms, the knot in your stomach. That's your body's way of saying, stay where it's safe. But here's the irony. The things that scare us most are often the things we need to do to move forward. When you stay inside your comfort zone, you're essentially putting limits on your potential. You're choosing the known over the unknown, even if the unknown holds the success you're seeking. And over time, this pattern becomes a habit. You stop challenging yourself. You settle for less. And the worst part, you start to believe that's all you're capable of. But let's look at the other side. Think about a time when you did something that scared you, something that pushed you to your limits. How did you feel afterward? Probably exhilarated, proud, maybe even unstoppable. That's the power of stepping out of your comfort zone. It's not just about achieving a goal. It's about proving to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. The truth is, success requires discomfort. It demands that you stretch yourself, take risks, and embrace uncertainty. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand it. You grow your capacity to handle challenges, to adapt, and to persevere. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for the fear to go away before they act. They tell themselves, I'll do it when I feel ready. But readiness is a myth. If you wait for fear to disappear, you'll be waiting forever. The key is to act in spite of the fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward, even when you're scared. And here's the good news. The more you do it, the easier it gets. When you make a habit of stepping outside your comfort zone, you start to build confidence. You realize that the things you were afraid of weren't as scary as you thought. You learn that failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone. And you begin to see discomfort not as something to avoid, but as a sign that you're growing. If you want to break through the barriers holding you back, start here. Identify one thing you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable. Whatever it is, commit to taking action. Even a small step can make a big difference. Remember, success isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to face your fears and move forward anyway. And the more you do it, the less power your comfort zone will have over you. Because here's the truth. Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's the invisible chain keeping you from the life you're meant to live. Next. The second barrier within the comfort zone is the belief system you carry. Those deep-seated assumptions about who you are, what you're capable of, and how the world works. Your beliefs act like a filter, shaping how you interpret everything around you. They determine the actions you take, the risks you're willing to accept, and ultimately, the results you achieve. Here's the thing. Not all beliefs are helpful. Some empower you, but many do the opposite. These limiting beliefs often lurk beneath the surface, quietly steering your life without you even realizing it. They sound like this. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the resources. People like me don't succeed. Or, what if I fail and everyone sees? Each of these thoughts is like a brick in the wall that separates you from success. The danger of limiting beliefs is that they operate as if they're facts. But they're not facts. They're stories you've told yourself, or stories where someone else told you that you've accepted as truth. Over time, these experiences solidified into beliefs, and those beliefs began to shape your reality. Consider this. If you believe you're not good at something, you're less likely to try. And even if you do try, that belief will influence your effort, your focus, and your persistence. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You expect to fail, so you don't give your best. And then when you fall short, it reinforces the belief. The cycle continues, keeping you stuck in the same patterns. But here's the truth. Beliefs are not fixed. They're not set in stone. They can be challenged, questioned, and replaced. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind when you face a challenge or consider stepping outside your comfort zone. What's the story you're telling yourself? Is it supportive or self-defeating? Once you've identified a limiting belief, ask yourself this. Is it true? And I mean really true. True beyond a shadow of a doubt. Chances are it's not. It's simply a perception, not a fact. Then ask, where did this belief come from? Who gave it to me? And do I want to keep carrying it? Often, just shining a light on a limiting belief is enough to loosen its grip. The next step is to replace it with a belief that serves you. Instead of saying, I can't do this, try saying, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of I'm not good enough, say I'm capable of improving and growing. It might feel uncomfortable or even untrue at first, but that's because you're challenging an old pattern. Over time, as you reinforce the new belief with action, it will start to feel natural. This isn't about blind optimism or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about adopting a mindset that empowers you to face those challenges head on. Beliefs are powerful because they create your reality. If you believe you can succeed, you're far more likely to take the actions that lead to success. Here's something else to consider. Success doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to believe that you're capable of progress. Too often, people hold themselves back because they think they need to have it all figured out before they begin. But the truth is, action creates clarity. You don't have to know every step of the journey to take the first one. Start small. Identify one limiting belief that's been holding you back and challenge it. Replace it with a more empowering belief and take an action that aligns with it. If you've been telling yourself, I'm not good at public speaking, replace it with, I'm learning to communicate more effectively. Then sign up for a class, volunteer to speak at a meeting, or practice with a friend. Each time you act in alignment with your new belief, you weaken the old one. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And the more you do this, the more your confidence grows. Over time, you'll find that the walls built by your limiting beliefs begin to crumble. And what once seemed impossible now feels within reach. The truth is, success starts in the mind. Your beliefs either propel you forward or hold you back. If you want to break free from what's been keeping you stuck, start by examining what you believe about yourself, your abilities, and your potential. Because until you change the way you think, you'll never change the way you live. Next, the third piece of what's holding you back lies in the habits you've built or failed to build over time. Habits are the silent drivers of your daily life. They dictate how you spend your time, how you react to challenges, and how consistently you move toward your goals. But here's the thing. Habits are powerful tools for success, yet they can just as easily become the chains that keep you stuck. Think about your daily routines. What do you do the moment you wake up? How do you approach your work or your responsibilities? How do you spend your evenings? These small, seemingly insignificant actions add up. Over time, they form the patterns that either push you closer to success or pull you further away from it. The danger with habits is that they're automatic. Once a behavior becomes a habit, you stop thinking about it. It becomes part of your routine, for better or worse. This is why breaking free from unproductive habits is so difficult. They become ingrained, and replacing them requires conscious effort. Here's where it gets tricky. Bad habits often provide short-term comfort or relief, which makes them hard to let go of. These habits feel good in the moment, but they sabotage your long-term success. On the flip side, the habits that lead to success, like discipline, focus, and persistence, often feel uncomfortable at first. They require effort, and the rewards aren't immediate. The The key to breaking free from these negative patterns is awareness. Take a close look at how you spend your time. What are the habits that are holding you back? Write these habits down. Name them. Because you can't change what you're not willing to confront. Once you've identified the habits that are working against you, replace them with habits that align with your goals. This doesn't mean overhauling your entire routine overnight. Start small. Focus on one habit at a time and make it as simple as possible. If your goal is to be more productive, commit to spending just 5 minutes at the start of your day planning your priorities. If your goal is to read more, start with 1 page a day. Small changes, done consistently, lead to big results. Here's something powerful to remember. Your habits are a reflection of your identity. When you repeatedly act in a certain way, you start to see yourself as that kind of person. If you make it a habit to exercise regularly, you begin to identify as someone who values health and discipline. If you make it a habit to write every day, you start to see yourself as a writer. This is why habits are so transformative. They don't just change what you do, they change who you are. But this transformation works both ways. Negative habits reinforce negative identities. If you consistently procrastinate, you start to believe you're someone who lacks discipline. If you avoid challenges, you see yourself as someone who can't handle adversity. Over time, these identities become self-fulfilling prophecies. The good news is you can rewrite the story. You can use habits to build a new identity, one that aligns with the success you're striving for. Start by asking yourself, what kind of person achieves the goals I've set for myself? Then identify the habits that person would have. Would they wake up early and plan their day? Would they prioritize learning and personal growth? Would they take consistent action even when it's difficult? Once you know the habits that align with your goals, focus on consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day and putting in the effort. Success isn't built on monumental actions. It's built on the small, deliberate choices you make over and over again. Here's an important point. Be patient with yourself. Building new habits takes time, and you're bound to slip up along the way. When that happens, don't use it as an excuse to quit. A missed day doesn't erase your progress. What matters is getting back on track as quickly as possible. And remember, your environment plays a huge role in shaping your habits. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious options. If you want to focus better, create a workspace that's free from distractions. Your environment should support your habits, not compete with them. Your habits are the foundation of your success. They determine how you spend your days, and how you spend your days determines the life you build. By identifying and replacing the habits that no longer serve you, and by cultivating the habits that move you closer to your goals, you take control of your future. Success isn't a matter of luck or talent. It's the result of intentional habits, practiced consistently over time. And I bet a critical piece of what's holding you back from success is how you handle failure. For many people, failure isn't just a stumbling block. It's a brick wall. It stops them in their tracks, making them question their abilities, their worth, and whether success is even possible for them. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. The fear of failure is one of the most common reasons people stay stuck. They don't take risks, try new things, or put themselves out there because they're afraid of what might happen if they fall short. That fear creates a cycle of avoidance. Instead of reaching higher, they settle for what feels safe. But the price of avoiding failure is far greater than the pain of experiencing it. When you avoid failure, you also avoid growth, learning, and opportunity. Here's the first thing you need to understand about failure. It's not personal. It doesn't mean you're incapable, unworthy, or destined to fail forever. Failure is simply feedback. It's information. It's the universe telling you this didn't work. Try another way. Every time you fail, you gain a better understanding of what doesn't work, and that brings you one step closer to what does. Think about some of the most successful people in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about it, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, openly admitted to missing more than 9,000 shots in his career. He said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." The difference between successful people and those who remain stuck isn't the number of times they fail. It's how they respond to failure. Successful people see failure as a teacher, not a verdict. They don't let it define them. They use it to refine their approach. But there's an emotional side of failure, and that's what trips most people up. When you fail, it hurts. It stings. It can feel like the world is watching and judging you. And those feelings are real. They're part of the process. The key is to not let those feelings paralyze you. Feel them, process them, and then move forward. One of the most powerful ways to shift your relationship with failure is to redefine it. Instead of seeing failure as an end point, start viewing it as progress. Every failure is proof that you're trying, that you're putting yourself out there, and that you're willing to risk discomfort in pursuit of something greater. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about failing forward, using each setback as a stepping stone to something better. And here's a common reaction to failure: quitting. How many people give up on their dreams after one or two setbacks? They start a business, and when it doesn't take off immediately, they close up shop. They try a new skill, and when it doesn't come easily, they decide it's not for them. This pattern of giving up too soon is one of the biggest barriers to success. Here's the truth. Success takes time. It takes perseverance. It takes the willingness to keep going even when things aren't working yet. Most people underestimate the time and effort required to achieve something meaningful. They see the overnight success stories and think that's how it works. But what they don't see is the years of struggle, failure, and persistence that came before the breakthrough. If you want to overcome the fear of failure, start by changing the way you measure success. Instead of focusing solely on the outcome, focus on the effort. Did you take action? Did you try something new? Did you push yourself outside your comfort zone? If the answer is yes, then you've already succeeded, regardless of the result. Here's something else you can try. Practice failing on purpose. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's incredibly effective. Set small, low-stakes challenges for yourself, where failure is a possibility. Try something new that you've never done before, something you're not naturally good at. By intentionally stepping into situations where you might fail, you desensitize yourself to the fear of it. Over time, failure becomes less intimidating and more manageable. It's also important to surround yourself with people who support your growth. Find people who understand the value of failure and can help you see the lessons in it. When you're part of a community that embraces growth and persistence, it's easier to stay motivated and resilient. Finally, remember that failure is temporary. It's a moment, not a lifetime. What feels like a disaster today will likely become a distant memory tomorrow. The setbacks you face are not permanent barriers. They're temporary detours. What matters is not how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. The way you handle failure will define your success. If you let it stop you, it will. But if you use it as a stepping stone, as a chance to learn and grow, it becomes one of your greatest assets. Success is not about never falling down. It's about getting up every single time. Next. The final barrier holding you back from success is one that most people don't even realize they're carrying: a lack of focus. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, pulling your attention in 100 different directions. It's not just external distractions like the phone ringing or someone interrupting you. It's internal distractions too. The constant chatter in your mind, the temptation to jump from one task to another, or the fear of missing out on something better. Focus is the currency of success. It's the ability to concentrate your energy, your time, and your attention on what truly matters without being derailed by the noise around you. But here's the challenge. Focus requires discipline, and discipline isn't always easy. Think about your own life. How often do you start your day with good intentions, only to find yourself sidetracked by trivial tasks, emails, or unimportant errands? How often do you set a goal, only to lose steam because you're juggling too many things at once? Lack of focus doesn't just waste time. It dilutes your effort, leaving you with little to show for all your hard work. Here's the truth. You cannot be successful if you're trying to do everything at once. Success requires prioritization. It means saying no to the things that don't matter, so you can say yes to the things that do. But for many people, this is easier said than done. One of the biggest obstacles to focus is the myth of multitasking. People often pride themselves on being able to handle multiple tasks at once, thinking it makes them more productive. But research shows the opposite. When you multitask, you're not giving your full attention to anything. You're constantly switching between tasks, which reduces efficiency and increases mistakes. If you want to achieve success, you must let go of the idea that you can do it all. Instead, focus on doing a few things well. Start by identifying your highest priorities. What are the 1 or 2 actions that will have the biggest impact on your goals? Those are the things that deserve your full attention. Once you've identified your priorities, the next step is to eliminate distractions. This means creating an environment that supports focus. If your workspace is cluttered, take the time to organize it so it feels clear and inviting. But distractions aren't just external, they're internal too. How many times have you found yourself procrastinating because you're overwhelmed or unsure of where to start? This is where focus and clarity go hand in hand. When you're clear about what you need to do and why it matters, it's easier to stay focused. A powerful way to build focus is by using time blocks. This means dedicating specific periods of time to specific tasks with no interruptions allowed. This approach trains your mind to concentrate fully for a set period, boosting both productivity and quality. Another key to focus is learning to say no. And this is one of the hardest lessons for many people, but it's also one of the most important. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. If you're constantly agreeing to requests that don't align with your goals, you're giving away your time and energy to things that don't move you forward. Saying no isn't selfish. It's necessary for success. And focus doesn't mean working nonstop. It means working smarter. Build in time for rest and reflection. When your mind is constantly running, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. Taking time to pause, recharge, and reassess keeps you aligned with your priorities and prevents burnout. Focus also requires patience. In today's fast-paced world, people often expect instant results. But success is rarely immediate. It's the result of sustained effort over time. When you focus on the process rather than the outcome, you build momentum and resilience. Finally, surround yourself with people who value and respect your focus. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, distractions, or people who don't understand your goals, it becomes much harder to stay on track. Seek out relationships that inspire and support you, and distance yourself from those that pull you away from your vision. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. The ability to concentrate on what matters most, even when distractions are tempting, is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. When you learn to focus, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop scattering your energy and start channeling it toward meaningful goals. And that, more than anything else, will move you closer to the success you're striving for. Success isn't reserved for a select few. It's not a matter of luck, talent, or being in the right place at the right time. Success is about understanding what's been holding you back and having the courage to confront it. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone, reshaping the beliefs that limit you, building habits that serve you, embracing failure as a teacher, and sharpening your focus on what truly matters. The barriers you face are not permanent. They're challenges to overcome, lessons to learn, and opportunities to grow. What's held you back until now doesn't have to define your future. Each of these barriers can be dismantled step by step with awareness, intention, and action. The path to success isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up for yourself consistently. It's about making progress, no matter how small, and staying committed to the vision you have for your life. Take what we've explored today and put it into practice. Identify the areas where you've been holding yourself back and take one deliberate step to move forward. Because success doesn't just happen. It's something you create, one choice at a time. You have everything you need to succeed. The question is, will you use it?